And we are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Alien Spaceship stream. You could be watching from anywhere around the country or the world, and I really appreciate every single one of you coming to you from the spaceship studios from a galaxy far, far away. All right, so we have some different trials going on, and news and different conversations and things we'll be having tonight. And I hope everybody is doing well. So here we will be beginning. Alright, hello everybody. It is I, Alien Spaceship. I hope everybody's been having a nice day so far. It has been interesting in the trial realm. There's a hearing from the Utah shooter today. There was a couple of other things regarding the two other trials that we're viewing. The chat and I are viewing, so it's nice to see some trials coming back again. And putting this down here. And here we go. So we will have different people come through. And while we have different people come through, we will be reading some different things. Alright, so let's go here. Switch over to this window. Alright, shout out to the spaceship cats. Okay, now going to start off with... Oh, hello Becky, it's good to see you. Welcome to the stream. I hope you're having I think it's quite late where you are, so it technically would be considered evening, so I hope that from some way of thinking, so good evening to you. Where I am, the sun is going down and the sky is very kind of like orangey looking. Yeah, so today there was this trial where the person murdered allegedly his mistress who had a kid with, and they were playing some scenes today where they had it blurred out because they wanted to not have any incriminating evidence against him that would be there. So that was something interesting to see, because everybody wanted to hear what was going to be said. And although it's quite clear that the person did it, it's still, we have the trial to see the truth about it. Then there was the other trial that was on, I'm not completely familiar with. There was this defense that, no, not a defense, there was a police officer on the stand for a very long time. And sometimes the audio, it's 12:20 a.m. Wednesday. Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, it's a couple hours ahead of us. 6 hours ahead, I believe. So where I am, it's 6:22. Yeah, so that was, as I said, sometimes the audio isn't really that great, but many in the chat were viewing the police officer one to be kind of slow going. It was a little bit slow, but I don't know much about that case, really. I just kind of came in there and saw them, and I still think the guy that murdered the woman was guilty of it, and we're still seeing how that trial goes. Some interesting testimonies and stuff from that trial. And today, with the Utah shooter over in the West Coast, that what happened, the assassination of Charlie Kirk, he was like robotic, no emotion today. While he was doing the hearing, and there he's going to have an attorney. They're just kind of going over some things before the trial, and it was good to see that televised, because I think people should see, that certainly should be televised with all the different reactions going on with that. So that was something interesting to see today, and the chat was quite crazy, quite immature. And it was proven that Jose is the father of the baby. He's done. Oh yeah, yeah. I completely agree. That trial is pretty much a no-brainer because it's a complete obvious fact that that guy did that, and he the DNA doesn't lie, as they say. And I mean, sometimes there can be exceptions when things don't really go right with DNA, but this situation is quite clear as Christmas that it is a fact that he did it. So he's done. It's just we have to watch as it goes until they prove him guilty. Very transparent in the U.S. compared to here. Yeah, Becky, and that is something that I do admire about this country and where I am. Although I have ancestry and stuff from that part of the world where you are, and I have relatives that are still in those parts of the world. So I respect that, of course, but I do. In spite of America's flaws, and the thing with America, it's descending into a. Oh, hello, Abby. Good evening. Abby says, "Hey, alien, heavy day for me. Becoming homeless again soon, and just got through it. I'll be turning in for a bit." Oh no, Abby, that is not good. I'm very saddened to hear about that, and we are here for if you need us to talk to, and feel free to tell me whatever is going on. I'm all ears. Yeah, all hugs. And Abby, we care about you very deeply, and I believe that there will be a better days are up ahead. Definitely. Even we have Timu Sheen days. There'll be days when things get better. So keep hanging in there, and we're certainly here for you. Now, with the America, it's heading towards a descending into people believe a civil war. There's let's see. So we have Abby saying, "Okay, connection. Good to see you, hun. I'm probably just all right. I'm back. I there's technical difficulties, but I'm back here now. Okay, so let's rechat. All right. So Abby says it's okay. There's many people out there. Some will fill in the emptiness. Oh, Abby, you see, every day I love going live to make sure that you're okay and here with us. So I remember you wanted me to go live, and it was a big help. And you always help me laugh and have a good time. And all the rest of the chat really values you and your take on things as well. It would not be the same. Every person, I believe, is very valuable and causes a ripple effect. Like I said, you are the rarest gem. And no matter what people think or what even you think, that there's things we can control and can't control, know that we certainly value very much here. And all right, so we got Abby right here, and hello, Michael. Good to see you. And I just want everyone else to be happy and live great lives with their loved ones and make it easier. All right, so here we go. Now, Abby says, "I'm so blessed to have met you guys, though, especially you, Alien. You are amazing. I was going to do it tonight, but there's a few people I need to talk to and can't without saying goodbye." Now, yeah, hello, Becky. Thank you. Now, Abby, I certainly value very much for being with us all the time, and I did these live streams every day also for you, so you would have somewhere to go and talk to. And in spite of the technical difficulties, I think that it is good I'll of course write through the text if it does go out again, but as we have these technical difficulties, I'll say what I can say. Yeah, but remember, the most valuable gems and diamonds of the world are worth millions. They're so rare. That's what you are to me, and to the chat too. And we don't know what the future holds, and that is true. And we cannot control other people's actions, only our reaction to things. So I do would like you to stay, and you can be with us and talk about what's going on. But as I said, we cannot really control what other people do, but we would value very much. It would not be the same without you, at least for us. And I believe every person makes a ripple effect in the world. And you have friends here, and that is something we could all agree on, regardless of what is or what isn't, what struggles are going on, is that you do have people here to talk to, and we are here for you as long as you would like to talk to us. And I said, every gem, every diamond, that is the most valuable ones, is what you mean to me. Because I remember when I chose you from the Law and Crime chat to come here, the laughs and the good times means a lot to me, and to everybody else that was watching. So yeah, it certainly would be a extremely heartbreaking thing. And if for us at least, even not for yourself, for us and for me, stay with us as long as possible. And you certainly care a lot about us, and we care about you. So this is the request that I would make. But as I said, we always appreciate you here with us in the chat, and update us as time goes on about how things are going, and we appreciate everything you have to say, Abby, and we are here for you. You're welcome, Abby. And yes, valued and worthy, definitely. And recently we had, of course, the unfortunate situation with. By the way, hello, Michael and Anna. Good to see you both. So know that other people may not value or have different opinions. There's always going to be haters and people that disagree. And everything happens for a reason, as we all have to remember. That we do not know what the future holds, but personally, I think it's good to trust that somehow the dots will connect in the future, even if it's going one more moment or minute more. And a little bit more. That, I think, is something that I would do. But of course, we completely empathize with the hard times you're going through and the difficult stuff that's going on. And Becky says, I'm going to bed now. I will be thinking of you all. Good night. Okay, Becky, thank you for hanging out with us for a little bit and thinking about us. Right. And, as I said, I remember I was telling my buddy on the phone that I do these live streams and hang out with you all, and I do, for the trial chat is why I do it. And I remember Abby also, along with the others, want me to go live every day, and I wanted to make sure Abby was okay. So I was trying to do it at a certain time and a certain space to make sure that she was able to have some people to talk to. And as long as I'm alive, God willing, I will be doing that, and for all of you and Abby. All right. So I appreciate Abby telling me your thoughts that I value very much. And as I said, we are here for you as long as you would like to talk to us. Abby said, I'm just sorry to share this morbid stuff, but I mean it and come to terms with it and have been making preparations. And Michael says, Abby, it's okay if you can't join us as often, which is true. Just think of us from time to time when you're wearing your goat leggings. Well, it's about the fun. Yeah. And for instance, the other night, Michael was talking to us about the goat leggings, which is from this movie where these people were it was from the Dragnet movie, and they were wearing these goat leggings, and it was something quite hilarious. Yeah, and we like to laugh with you, too. And Abby says, and you guys are my closest things to friends because I like to laugh with you guys. Yeah, and I remember with the Six Flags, which was a very difficult time for my city and our people. We like to look at that stuff, and it's something that you also like to explore too, and we made a lot of fun of it to see it with the SpongeBob. Because I remember there was this time, one of my favorite times with Abby was a situation where we were watching the thing about Six Flags, and then we were talking about SpongeBob because there's a SpongeBob ride. And Patrick is actually quite naughty. So Patrick likes to wear these big boots, these fishnet stockings, and he's certainly has a wild side to him. He even locked SpongeBob in a dungeon, and SpongeBob looked like he was enjoying it when he was trying to get the suds out of him. So yes, Patrick is quite wild. That was something that you pointed out to me that I didn't completely think of before, with your very inquisitive mind you have. Yeah, that was certainly a funny laugh. And as we're getting towards Halloween, I think about him more and more, and he certainly has a interest in the ice cream cone. So explain to you all what I'm talking about. So I'm going to have to X this window out and go to this other window right here. And I think it appeared in the screen. Is that true? It did not. But that's okay. We're going to get it on. I'm going to go here. Right there. Kind of put this over here where people would see. All right. So with SpongeBob, there's an episode about the suds. Episode right here. All right, so back the show that I grew up watching, and Abby did too, is SpongeBob, and it's something I like to talk about time to time, and it was something that came out in '99 and the early 2000s. It was something that a lot of people growing up and adults that watched it too at that time liked it too. So there is SpongeBob. He comes down with an illness which turns him into a sniffy, sneezing bubble maker. Now, he basically gets sick with some sort of sickness, and Patrick, this kind of mischievous character, tries to encourage him not to go to a doctor because he has his own strange remedies. And Michael is quite interested in science, and he would understand that it is good to have the proper practices with things, and then it shows a lot of symbolism. So, and Anna asks, "What's going on with your house, Abs?" Anna has the question for Abby. So, in this situation, you have SpongeBob right here, who looks like he's a zombie, certainly on the verge of deletion, of death, and we have this peculiar scene right here where he seems to be enjoying being put in a dungeon with a bunch of axes and stuff. And you never watched it, Michael? Oh, wow. Oh. So, yeah, and he's certainly in this medieval dungeon, and he is enjoying it. And we were talking about that. Patrick and SpongeBob are into some interesting kind of like kinky activities. And shout out to SpongeBob because he owns it and he's confident about it. And Patrick is just showing his diabolical side that he always was like. And that is something quite hilarious. And remember, I have done this before on the show where I look at these different pictures from these cartoons and react to them because they're so intricate. For instance, there's a fire in the background, and then you have to think about this thing where the fire is burning underwater for one thing, so it has to be something different, like how they could have volcano things underwater, and they have to have some certain physics to it where they're able to burn the fire underwater. However, they're able to figure it out in this universe, in this show. So this symbolism here, Michael, is that you have these medieval ways of doing things which are not scientifically the way things are done or things are theorized. But the way to have it done was the proper way where he would go to a doctor and get a checkup. So that is symbolizing to people about how past people and maybe current people will not do things, anything, the way it's properly done. And for instance, we've seen quite horrid things where, even with political assassinations and stuff, where people are just using barbaric medieval ways of handling the stuff and not the proper way. And this is another scene of SpongeBob where he has the suds and he's just blowing out a bunch of bubbles. I saw this funny clip today on YouTube where there is Patrick underwater and there's this other fish, and there's an interesting reaction how it reacts when it touches Patrick. All right, Abby says a lot, Anna. Too much to type. Just enough for me to know that my mom nor nobody in my family gives a shit if I'm not here. Even telling me to go, I'd be better off. Well, Abby, they certainly, the reason why they said that, Abby, is they feel bad about their own baby pictures that they saw. And they feel very insecure about themselves, and they're not a beautiful person like you. So it is actually true, in my opinion, it's my opinion, is that I think you're very tough, that you made it this far, and you are a fighter. Because I think that living is an act of courage, and if, no matter what, I'll always remember you as most courageous, bravest women I've known. But at the same time, I mean, you are here with us, and you have the courage to talk to us. So I do think that they're quite wrong about that we could agree that you are here telling us what's going on. So that's certainly an act of courage. And at your own time, and your own, as you're comfortable, to reveal to us what is happening. But those people that do that are cowards. People that do that are complete bullies and cowards. They certainly have drank from Patrick's Kool-Aid right there. Because he's right there and doing those insane things. And that's what basically they're like. But see, SpongeBob is not affected by what is happening to him. He is just being calm and hanging out because it's something he likes. But because we can't always control what happens to us for a reaction to it, and that is certainly a fact, and they are not controlling their reaction. They are putting others down for their own shortcomings. And Abby says, I'm not a beautiful person. I'm going to hell. I don't know why, but I just know, obviously, I haven't been through enough. God wouldn't even want me. Now, it is normal to feel the way you feel. But of course, at the same time, I don't agree with the way. I am very concerned for you and your well-being, and I believe that God is the greatest planner, and you certainly would not go there, in my opinion. I think there is nice gardens and a very nice place for you there, as we have a nice place for you here, but Earth is kind of a messed up place. We all agree that Earth is a messed up place. So at the same time, though, this chat is like a safe haven at the same time. So no, I don't agree with that, in my opinion. But because you've done such good, of course, I have only can speak from my experience of you being here with us in the chat, is that you contributed so well to it. So well to the spaceship and also to the trial chats, too, in my opinion. So that will certainly be remembered. Remember, anything good you do, even if it's a mustard seed, because you did good for me. A very stressful environment for me and constantly, but I had like a peace when we were talking about the Six Flags and SpongeBob and stuff like that. So it is certainly for me at least, and many others in the chat and all of your friends here, you did good things to them. So you did good of, even if you feel as a mustard seed, you definitely made a very big impact on us. And you see, SpongeBob here he's quite interesting. How we have him here, and he's looking very grumpy because he has the suds and he has a cold, so he's wearing his hat and his scarf and his hoodie. And he looks like he has been completely worn out from a long night of watching the different crustaceans on his television that Gary was peeking behind and watching him because he had some fun with Patrick. So he was a little bit worn out from his partying. Then he got himself the suds, and look, his eyes are falling off. That is extremely wild, definitely. And Abby says it is a safe haven. That's why I'm sharing here, or I'd probably leave it bottled up and go walk or pass over tracks. Well, understood. And I am glad that at the very least, whatever could be done for you, and service to you, is that you had this to have a safe haven in. And yeah, so right here we have, and as I said, Abby, as long as you are around, for as long as you want to chat with us, we feel free to chat as you would like. It'll be open for you. And Abby, feel free to express yourself here and just get it all out. And we're here for you. And you could do whatever you feel is best, whatever choice that you'd like to do. And as I said, for us, at least, it would be very good to have you on future streams to see what's going on with you, because your stories are very intriguing and very courageous, in my opinion. Now, this Michael says there's something you can do, and it's free. You could go to a church near you, and it doesn't have to be one ID. You just have to speak to a priest, rabbi, start there. Thank you, Michael and Alien. I love you guys. I just took edibles, and I also learned something interesting information today. Okay, Abby, tell us the interesting information that you learned today. I'd be interested to hear if you'd like to say. All right, and you have this right here is Gary, and Abby said Ilhan Omar married her brother. I was just reading about Ilhan Omar today. I've read about something about her today, and people are saying that about her running the city. I was like scared. Yes, that is something I've also heard as well, Abby. That's quite interesting information, isn't it? It is you something that you would not forget about. It's like it must be the Twilight Zone or opposite day, certainly, when we hear about things like that. Scared. All right. So this was from a dream episode, and Gary was very intelligent. Is very intelligent, and in this dream state, Gary is this wizard, this scientist, this of philosopher that was reading and studying all of these books and all these different things. So you have that on our hands where Gary was educating SpongeBob and wanting him to get out of the dream. Abby said, I Sheila myself figuring that out. She did it for citizenship. What the F? Scared? Well, I mean, they say the ruthless ones are the ones that win, so I guess she was going to do it at all costs. I don't know. I mean, that is certainly an incestuous way of getting over here. I mean, I guess it was at all costs. And that is they say there's many ways to top of the mountain, but I've not heard that way to the mountain. That's something new that I've learned. It's like, I wonder what who would be the best man in that wedding? Who would be the best man in that wedding? Is it going to be? That will be the question of the hour, wouldn't it be? It's the wedding arrangement is take your brother and your sister and now pronounce you man and wife. It's like they come to a new form. Scared. That would be a Timu Sheen wedding, definitely. All right, so you got this other incident where Patrick is doing his medieval torments on him, and and he's about to explode. And a lot of times in life, we could feel like we're about to explode. So it shows that Patrick's methods he needs to improve. He definitely needs to improve in. Now that was one time where the Sleepy Suds episode, it shows SpongeBob look like a zombie and all these different people trying to help him. Oh, they made a toy. They made a pop toy. Abby said there is a sub on Reddit named Incel Isn't Wrong, and it's legit. Then you have the other side saying incest is wrong, and they're both going after each other. So it's as divided as our country is, they're having a civil war within a civil war. Now, it is extremely essential to see that. It is quite entertaining in a way, in my opinion, to see these different factions have war with each other online. So it's subreddit warfare is very funny. I mean, it's like there's no noise, but the chats going back and forth is certainly the loudest. Anna said that's not true, Abs, and don't quit boxing if that's what you want to do. Yeah, right on, facts. And I love when subreddits fight. It's so funny. The ballsy shit people will say behind the screen is wild. Oh, oh yeah. It's like the WrestleMania that they had, like the cats have, and what they did in the SpongeBob, where SpongeBob and Patrick were having a wrestling match for the food games, and they were very ballsy towards each other. But yeah, behind a screen and behind that, they will certainly say ballsy things. And the things that people on Reddit will say is hilarious. Like, you could go and I'll see the different posts, and people do something called shit posting, and they will just keep on saying all kinds of ridiculous stuff like the incel isn't wrong doesn't get any women because they drank the bong water and offered it to the girlfriend and something like that. And then the incel is wrong is saying that they didn't get any girlfriends because they ate too much donuts. So then they'll just go back and forth and say, hey, we're going over to your house and square up. And you got these Reddit people squaring up with you got these big exaggerated hats on, and you got the other group with some anonymous masks on, and they go and start beefing with each other, but no one actually does anything physical. It's just a bunch of clowns bickering back and forth. So it's certainly like watching a circus. Ever seen Mentionophobia subreddit? It's the best. I have never heard of that. Well, thanks, Abs. I'm glad you like the commentary. Thank you. And subchannelphobia, I have not heard that. That's something that I have to look that up. Scared. And okay, you have Suds, right? So you have a picture of Patrick there, and viewer discretion advised. He looks like he's getting hard right there, and he can't comprehend the feelings that's going through his body as he is watching SpongeBob in that state, and SpongeBob looks like he just does not care. So you see the red is basically like a red room, and is glowing, and SpongeBob's in some other realm somewhere. So then you have this over here where SpongeBob explodes and everywhere all over the Krusty Krab, and that ruins the money. Then he's like used as a to clean toilets. Obviously, you should look up Quincy Dredge 2 in Michigan. That's basically what that sub is. Oh, okay. Okay. I'll check it out. And it's a building. Okay, it's a building. Yeah, I definitely like the abandoned buildings that we were seeing. All right, and let's look at this right here. Also, we have. Let's read some context about what this is so we could know. It looks like an interesting abandoned building. Scared. Look at that. That looks like a ship that's like trying to sink 100 years ago, but it just didn't quite go down, and no one did anything. It looks like a, you know, it looks like a giant cyclops thing coming from underwater. Wow. Like a mechanical robot elephant. It's stuff in the water that shouldn't be in the water. Look at it. It's creepy. Yeah, scared. Yeah. The first one sank first. Ah, yes. 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 And some context about what this is exactly is right there. Oh, okay, that's the second to rage. A historical sunken dredge located on Torch Lake near the town of Mason in Michigan's Keweenaw Peninsula. You look inside the water, it's tilted, it's eerie. Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. Like the water looks so unnatural, like there's something in it that's not supposed to be in it. The purpose. It was used to reclaim stamp sand, which is byproduct of copper mining. Mining companies would dump this waste rock into the lake. With technological improvements, it became profitable to reprocess this sand to extract residual copper. Original ownership. The dredge was built in 1914, and the Coleman Helica Mining Company, which named Dredge 1, was later sold in Quincy Mining Company and is designated Quincy Dredge 2. Oh, yeah. Brain eating amoeba still in the water. Yeah. Yeah. And with the brain eating amoeba, that is something that's happening at that Six Flags that they didn't tear down. So during the hurricane that when Katrina happened 20 years ago, it would all that brain eating amoeba were still in the water, and over here they're still in this location too because they do not leave these type of regions. The sinking in 1967, the dredge sank in the lake during the winter layup at the time of the falling copper prices made a recovery too costly. It was abandoned. Yes, okay, one sank before. Yeah, it's so crazy to see like a building sink. Modern status. The most of the superstructure and boom remained visible above the waterline, making it prominent and popular landmark for photographers and history enthusiasts. Future plans. As of early of 25, there are plans to potentially move the dredge into a permanent dry dock nearby to rehabilitate it to museum purposes and allow visitors to walk on it. Oh yeah, Abby, exactly. I think that it is extremely wild that they left it there to rot because with all the, you know, technology and yeah, they wanted to bring it out and the people will walk on it like a chat. So we're going to see this over here and you're going to go walk on this thing. They're going to have this for people to walk on it. They're going to put it in a museum and have people walk on it. It's like, what is there even to walk on? Like, what are we doing here? Like what kind of moonwalking are people going to have to do to maintain balance on my man right here? It's like, it. Are they going to get a tightrope? We're going to do some gymnastics. I mean, what happens if someone falls through? Like, scared, scared. And they just left this thing here. So you have grass, you have a bunch of nice trees, and then all of a sudden you have this thing just like half, like just like this dead thing, just this skeleton thing just hanging in there. And the roof is even caved in parts of it. And they're going to have people walk on it. And modern status, most of the superstructure in Boom remains visible above the waterline, making it a prominent and popular landmark for photographers and history enthusiasts. Yeah, Michael said it's a safety hazard, period. Yeah, that's true. And he said, it's creepy. Look at the SS America too, please. I love looking at that stuff. Yes. Future plans. There is plans of potentially moving the dredge in 25 to dry dock. Environmental impact. The decades of stamp and sand disposal from mining operations, which dredge was built to address the caused significant environmental damage as a result. Torch Lake was designed to superfund the site. Let's go here. Ooh, the SS America. Wow, that is so cool. I've seen this before. Yes, that is so cool. And looking at this through this window, let's see how this goes. That is so ghostly. It reminds me of one of Alan Poe's movies that they did of his work. It's so haunting. Scared. So those that are listening, it is a piece. It's a ship that sunk, but sometimes when a ship sinks, it doesn't go underwater, but it just kind of floats around like a corpse. And this is a ghostly scene, a grisly work of art where you have the overcast skies and you have waves, these ghostly waves, and you have this ghost ship just stuck there with one funnel that's trying to exist but can't. And it's like the ship saying, y'all left me out here. And it's like, y'all really left me out here. It's like, and Michael said if it floats around, it didn't sink. And according to that analysis, from a logical perspective, that is actually correct. It didn't go underwater. And there's all kinds of ways of interpretations about these things. But yes, it's from a complete technical analysis. Yes, it didn't go underwater. And that is true. but it's certainly a ship that is pronounced dead. Because there's no one sailing it across the seas. So does that look like a ship that's... It's definitely a ship that isn't alive. So it's pronounced dead. It is sunk. Although it is not underwater, technically, it is sunk above water. But thank you, Michael. I appreciate the disclaimer, because I will say the Timu things at times. But yes, it is technically not underwater, obviously. But it's certainly a ship that was never brought back to be salvaged. It was just left to be rotted out there, and it's not a ship that no one's using or can be really used. So it's just a haunted ghost ship, like the Dutchman. And look at that. That's another angle of it. And it is very light blue. It's kind of like the Titanic, but it's not the Titanic, but it's a similar type of design. And Michael says, these types of ships in this condition are normally towed out and has holes explode in it. This ships then sink and will form a reef. Oh, hello, Moki. It's good to see you. And thank you, Michael, for the context. I appreciate you very much. For what you have to say. And, yeah, exactly. And we got this other piece of the ship right here. And at this point, that was left to the point where only half of the ship still remains. You could even argue that this is truly the unsinkable ship, if I might say, because it will certainly doesn't seem to go underwater no matter what. So yeah, that is a ghost ship that is lurking. Now it looks like it is tilting over. Does it actually go underwater? Does it go underwater, or does it just float around? And look at that. It certainly decayed to the point of being listing. It is listing. And then it looks like it is officially going beneath the waves at this point. Does it go underwater? And only a small piece of it is still standing. So it does eventually go beneath the waves, but not for a very long time. So it recently collapsed. But I will say, you could argue this is the unsinkable ship, or the most closest thing in the world to the unsinkable ship. They thought the Titanic would be like this. They thought the Titanic would stay afloat like that. They thought that it would just be like that, whatever hit it. But it didn't quite end up that way, of course. It's underwater. But yeah, whatever caused it to be that way, was there for a very long time. Nature can destroy everything that comes in its way. Was the funnel printed recently? And let's see some stories about this here ship. The SS America. Let's see. The Miss World Discoverer. We have two more from Abby we're also going to look at. I'm going to give some context about this ship. Thank you, Abby. The name SS America refers to several different ships, most famously in the 1940 ocean liner with a storied history as a World War II troop ship and an immigrant carrier, which was later wrecked in the Canary Islands. Another notable ship was the name of a steam frigate that sank at Lake Superior in 1928. 1940 ocean liner. The vessel, also known as West Point during the naval service, was a prominent American liner along various careers. And let's see. down here. The ship served as a packet boat carrying passengers, mail, and cargo between settlements along Lake Superior, sinking. In 1928, when leaving, it struck the reef. The captain tried to beach the ship, but it struck another reef and sank. All 47 people. So they rescued the wreck today. The wreck is isolated. It's a popular site for scuba divers. Is this the right ship? All right. Okay, thank you, Abby. The reason shipwreck SS America was visible for long due to where and how it ran aground. After its tow line snapped a storm in 94, the ship then named SS America Star drifted into the sandbar at Playa de Grace and the coast of Fuerteventura in the Canary Islands. All right. It recently went down. Okay. Let's go to this one over here. This is another ship that was abandoned and rusted right here. Oh, thank you, Lori, for being here. Hello there. We are talking about abandoned places and abandoned ships right now. Well, thank you, Moki, for that link. I appreciate your links always. Right, and this is a ghost ship right here that was also beached. Right there, it's very spooky looking. You have it's all rusted out and it looks like a skeleton right there. Looks like a skeleton right there. And give you all a better view of this sandbar. Also, MV Demetrios has a hole in it like the American Star ghost ship. Oh, okay, thank you. Yeah, this is the contraption that was sunk, but they didn't completely salvage it, and it looks like a thing that's trying to walk from underwater but got stuck. Scared. Right there. Okay. And what happened to this ship? MT Alta. Oh, hello, Doe. Great to see you. The MV Alta is an abandoned merchant vessel known as a ghost ship that was found wrecked on the coast of County Cork, Ireland in 2020. After drifting crewless for nearly 18 months in the Atlantic Ocean, its strange and legendary final journey was captured. It is drifted in. Okay. And let's look at this other one right here that she suggested. The American Star. Right, and that's the American Star. And the other ship, just to be clear, that's the American Star in different phases and different times. And it was beached. Yes, yes, that's yes indeed, Moki. Yes. And then the other ship, that's or that is one of those ships right there. Nice blue water. Okay. So over here we have Alta. This one has a similar situation how it was beached. Also. You're welcome. Timu Davy Jones Flying Dutch. Yes. Yes. And some other ones. The Miss World Discoverer. Then we're going to go here and put that there. Alright, this is the Miss World Discoverer ship. And we have this ship right here. Scared. Loki said we need to drive by Dookie errands. I thought I recognized that from somewhere. Where okay, and one that makes me shield it is I'll save it for Aaron Mokes. All right, so Miss World Discoverer. Scared. Oh, this is a ship that was beached from Timu. As Lori said, it's Timu Davy Jones Flying Dutchman. That was that a ship that we are looking at. Yeah. All right, so this is like trying to. This is the Sheen Flying Dutchman. I don't know. This looks like, although I was not around at the time, this looks like some '80s scene or something from some one of those Jurassic movies. Yeah, and it's kind of underwater, sort of, but not quite. And it has a tree. It says an ecosystem growing on it. Well, that is quite incredible. We have several bones of old shipwrecks here in the Oregon coast. Oh, that's very cool. That is so cool. All right, and yeah, so this is the ship. Scared. It's like you have to be walking through it, and it creaks and it cracks, and you could feel the humidity. You could feel it, and you hear some noises kind of in the distance inside the ship. You don't know what it is exactly. It could just be the ship moving or something else. You never really know. And that is what it used to look like before it had a problem. And then you got that one. It's crystal blue water. Crystal blue. It's enchanting and peaceful, yet terrifying at the same time. Yeah. You know, Lori, maybe. Yeah, not the noises. Scared. And you. Then what Lori says, oh, yeah, the shipwrecks are fascinating. You know, maybe some of your ancestors, Lori, saw the Flying Dutchman in the distance. Or maybe they were on this. You know, they could have seen it or sunk a couple of ships. It certainly would be there. And I think it's quite intriguing, too. So, and the pirates had very not advanced ships, and seeing this ship is have the trees and stuff on it would blow their minds, and how it's still staying afloat. Okay, I want to put this. Bones of the beach. Okay. And okay, so we're going to copy this. All right. Okay. I want to look at one of these different links. Okay, so here we go. All right. Moore County removes massive derelict submarine from Florida Keys waters. Scared. I love submarines. I love submersibles. Scared. Okay, let's see. The Nokolai ship will be next. All right. Okay, so what's this? The Moore County officials Monday removed and abandoned massive 96-foot yellow submarine from the nearshore waters of the Florida Keys. The sub was brought to the Keys in the 1990s by an engineer who hoped to make it seaworthy and take it to Honduras to operate tour. Associate Press reported in 2008, but that never happened, according to Monroe County court documents. Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission officers arrested the sub's owner, 72-year-old Dwayne Shelton, and misdemeanor count of abating a derelict vessel, to which pleaded to no contest in 23 and was sentenced to 1 year probation. Alien 100%. When we saw the Masters and Commanders in theaters, I had a visceral reaction during the one ship hand-to-hand combat. I couldn't sit still in my seat. It was like I was there back in time. Can't spell small words today. Ah, well, oh, I remember that movie. I saw it last year when Delight told another user on here in Australia. She told me about it, and I thought that was a very good movie. That was very cool. I'm sure it was the blood flowing to your veins certainly was pumping up. Michael said he misspells if. Scared. The AP reported that the Shelton brought the hull to the sub from Chicago scrap yard in 97 from 100,000 and was working on refurbishing the vessel in the mangroves Boot Key uninhabited wooded island off the middle keys of Marathon. All right, let's see. Oh, scared. Nicholas, scared. Where he said, Michael, now know I'm in good company. It's okay, Anna. Well, I'm glad to see you here. So, this is the Nicholas ship. It, to me, sounds like a Russian ship. And it is so rusted. It is so out of control. It's like from another dimension. There's no substance to it. There's no, like, when you look at it, you lack control and feeling. And it just brings you and sucks you into the the void of its trying to sink but can't. It's so supernatural, like from another realm. And it is completely a ghost ship from Timu. Like, this was trying to bring in all the Timu orders, but it didn't quite sync because it's a Timu ship. And he said, OMG, you know one wreck you can't see that really gives me the heebie-jeebies, the Richard Montgomery wreck. You have to look that one. It's protected and cannot be explored because it's expensive. It's explosive. Oh. In one wrong move, Abby, on that ship, it would be kaboom. Alright. We'll look at that ship in a moment. Certainly. It just will have explosive thoughts as you are going to brace yourself to see it. Now, this was the ship before. And it was great and glorious in bringing Timu shipments across the pond and the land. Then it doesn't quite make it. Quite make it. And over here, see, SS Tet. Tennis. Anna says hello to Moki and O. Oh, look at this ship. Right here. It is the SS Tennis. Tentus. Okay, Tet Enus. Alright, and it's beached on the shore, all rusted out and powerless. And it can't move or anything. It's scared. Imagine what it's like on night on that thing. Imagine what it's like at night. And right here is the ship that we're going to be reviewing as well. Uh-oh. There it is, Abs. Your favorite ship. There we go. Absolutely. Right when I thought. There we are. We're back. Okay, and we are back now to this ship that is mostly sunk underwater. And it is the most ultimate ghost ship. And it's explosive. And it said, Abs, if that's what it takes, I'll buy you a ghost ship. I'm scared. There you go. Moki said, y'all got me looking up the Krusk submarine. I didn't realize they recovered the crew. Oh, I didn't know that, Moki. Know that. Alright, so this is the ship that almost sunk but didn't quite make it. It sunk, it was so big and massive and powerful. When it sunk underwater, not all of it could be seen. So, and it's explosive. If you sail by it, the suspense would cause the heart to race. And at any moment, you can explode. And there's certainly nothing you could do about it if it does explode. And there's a sign, a danger sign. So you're floating in the water on a little boat going by it. And it's getting kind of dark, but all you can see with the flashlight that you have is this danger sign that illuminates in the darkness. And then another time, there during the day, you are mesmerized by the danger sign that is there and you can't do anything about it. And it will completely explode, possibly or not. It could be a fuse, it could be a time. No matter what, if something touches it, it will go off. And the danger sign, even in daytime, looms eerily, ambient, causing one to go into a trance. And look at this. somebody going right up to it and touching it on a small little sheen surfboard. They go right up to it, and it creaks a little bit and it moves a little bit, and there's a big danger sign that is unforgiving. Right there. And it looks almost like a... It looks like a sign right there. Where it looks like a power cable. A bunch of power lines. Right. And... And Abby... Abby says, that would be me. Go out with a bang. Yes. Yeah, exactly. And one torpedo, it is safe now. And we have... They could send it a gift, ordnance, and just get the explosion over with. Yeah. Now that's the picture of the ship underwater. So underwater, the ship is on the seabed, on the seafloor. And it... On the top, all you could see is the masts. That's all you could see. It's very eerie indeed. A very good find. And this is the wreck. Underwater, the 3D model. Okay. They could send it a gift ordnance and just get the explosion over with. Yeah, so that is what it looks like underwater. It broke in half, but it's resting on the seafloor. Let's see, this ship right here. This is a ship right there. These are examples of a ship with lots of sails. And as he says, this is the Castellan, have explosives so are protected from being viewed. OMG was looking at Krusk, and they were covered tragically, thankfully. Right. So the sunken ships are quite eerie. Sunken ships are quite eerie. Now that's a ship with lots of sails, because they would need the sails to continue on forward. Oh, I've not covered the most famous shipwreck yet, the USS... Oh, okay. We'll cover that right now. Let's see. The USS Minnow. Let's go right here. Ah, yes. Gilligan's Island. I know about that ship. That is the most famous one of all time, yes. This was a funny show. This is a funny show I've seen reruns of. And they... On the sea, it goes to the shore, and they're all stuck on the island trying to get along. So that is one of the other most famous wrecks. Definitely the most humorous shipwreck, I might add to. Okay. And going over here, you have that. A 3-hour tour. Yes. It's a shout out to the USS Minnow. This ship certainly is the most famous one of all time. Let's go to the Krusk. This is the Kusk submarine. Yeah, and this is a submarine with the interior right here. It it's certain. Yeah, that looks like it had like a big explosion, a big gap right there, and it's completely hollow. It's very eerie and ambient, and probably has lots of echoes within it. And what exactly happened to this one is the Kusk submarine. Let's go here. Yeah, rest in peace to the crew. It did explode. Okay. It was likely a nuclear submarine, but we're going to find out for certain. The Kursk was a Russian Oscar II was an Oscar second class nuclear submarine, sank on the Barents Sea on August 12, 2000, deleting killing all of the 118 sailors on board. The disaster was caused by an internal torpedo explosion, and the Russian government faced heavy criticism for handling of the crisis and delayed rescue efforts. 24 survived the initial explosion. Now, the flag on the ship looks like the Confederate flag, but it's actually not the Confederate flag. It's the flag of St. Andrew. And they have the emblem of the Romanov emblem on there instead of the hammer and sickle. Because it's the Russian Empire, the Russian Federation, Russian Empire. And that is a big piece, a big thing to explode, definitely. And rest in peace to those that perished on this. How horrific. I still think about the USS Scorpion and USS Thresher crews, too. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. And some wrote letters to their families. Oh, yeah. Yeah, so that's, the hollowed out piece of it right there. Failed torpedo. During a major naval exercise, a faulty weld in practice torpedo caused a leak of its violet high test peroxide HTP purulent. The HTP reacted with the torpedo tube's metal, causing an explosion equivalent to 100 to 250 kilograms of TNT. Secondary explosion. The initial blast and fire led to the detonation of 5-7 combat-ready torpedo warheads. 2 minutes later, the second, much larger explosion, equivalent to 3 to 7 tons of TNT, blew a large hole in the submarine's hull, causing the first 3 compartments to collapse. They apparently went below crushing depths. Pieces of both were found on the floor of the water they were in. Yes. Immediate aftermath. The submarine sank to the seabed at the depth of 108 meters. Most of the crew were deleted instantly, but 23 sailors survived the AFT compartment. Fate of the survivors. For hours, sailors in the AFT compartment waited to rescue a flash fire caused by chemical oxygen cartridge falling into the oily seawater quickly consumed the remaining oxygen, suffocating the survivors. A note written on the survivors' officers found during the salvage of their plight. Yeah, Moki, that it certainly would be nerve-wracking. It's because there's no other way out. Yeah. Now I'd cry. Goodbye, grass. No more touching grass or porcelain dolls. Yep. Delayed Russian response. Despite explosion being detected by international seismic monitors, the Russian Navy was very slow and incompetent in its response. It took over 6 hours for search to initiated, more than 16 hours to locate the vessel. Disabled emergency buoy. The submarine emergency rescue buoy had been internally disabled during a previous mission, preventing it from alerting surface ships of disaster. Russians in the surface didn't treat it like an emergency. Right. No different than being on a plane or train, just not a lot of windows. Being underwater makes it more claustrophobic. Yeah, yeah, definitely. Putin a little biatch. I'll just say it here since he can't get me here. Scared. And shout out to you, Abs. Awesome. And Lori said, I will never go on a sub, a skydive, or bungee jump. I'm proud of it. Yeah. Lori scared. Abs says, yes, look into those subs. But I was a roofer and not afraid of heights. It's that Sutton stop, you know. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Definitely. I also did roofing too, Lori, as you know. And I've been on them since I was growing up a little. So, but these other things, it's like you're falling out the sky, stuff like that. I can understand where it's a little bit different. Yeah. All right. Survivors would have told the foreign saviors what they were doing there bad for Russia. Yeah. Okay. I see what you're saying. Rest in peace to the crews of the USS Thresher and Scorpion. Yeah. This is the USS Scorpion. And I like the way the submarine looks really classic. That's like the submarines in different shows and stuff that they have. And they it's certainly a tragic what happened. Let's see exactly what happened to it. Thank you, Abby. Thank you, Abby. Oh, Alien's a working man too. He's got it all. The charisma and grift. Thank you, Abby. My grandpa had a roofing company, and when I was a kid growing up, he would take me on jobs, and I did a lot of work with him. And when I got older as an adult, I and before, like when I was, I'm still young, of course. People are going to tell me, but when I was a couple of years ago, it started, and I would help him with rental properties. So I did stuff with houses and things like that. So a lot of things with houses and roofs and stuff. So I've been quite around the block. Yes. On the Scorpion, I believe it was an explosion or something. Say USS Scorpion sub. All right. The USS Scorpion was a U.S. Navy nuclear attack submarine that was lost with all 99 crew members on May 22, 1968 in the Atlantic Ocean. The cause of its sinking remains unknown, though several theories exist. Seawolf. Okay, thanks, Michael. Class. It was a skipjack class submarine known for its advanced teardrop shaped hull that allowed it to reach high underwater speeds. Final mission. After a tour in the Mediterranean, the Scorpion was returning home, port of Norfolk, Virginia, but was first diverted to perform a reconnaissance mission on a Soviet naval group in the Atlantic. Disappearance. Its last radio message was received on May 21, 1968, indicating its position southwest of the Azores. It was reported overdue on May 27 and presumed lost on June 5. Wreckage discovery. The Navy's search efforts include the use of underwater acoustic surveillance system SOSUS, eventually located in the wreckage of the Scorpion. In October 1968, the vessel was found in more than 9,800 feet of water, about 400 miles southwest of Azores. Court of Inquiry. A naval court of inquiry was covered, but it concluded that the certain cause of the sinking could not be determined from the available evidence. Theories of the sinking. The torpedo malfunction. The most common theory is that one of the Scorpion's own torpedoes accidentally activated and detonated, possibly after a battery fire. Hydroacoustic sensors detected a powerful underwater explosion that could support this. Below crushing depth, they both imploded like the Titan vehicle thing. I'm not laughing at the people that passed away in the Titan, but the Titan was a water heater. It was a hot water heater from Home Depot with some tape and some stuff like that, put together in some pipes from Home Depot, and they went underwater. Lori said, okay, gotta drive now. We'll check back after a while. Okay, Lori, thank you for letting us know. I said, sure, drive safely. And see you soon, Anna says. All right. Hydrogen explosion. Another theory suggests a fatal buildup of hydrogen gas from the submarine's onboard batteries, which ignited the caused international explosion. Yeah, and she's saying it wasn't even a submarine. It had a remote controller like an Xbox controller. What the F? Yeah, it had an Xbox controller, and they had a screen from Walmart, and it was a contraption, and they have a microfiber hull that breaks under pressure. Michael said the Titan was a disaster waiting to happen. Yeah, that is true. Definitely. Hydrogen explosion. Another theory suggests that a fatal buildup of hydrogen gas from the submarine's onboard batteries, which ignited and caused an international explosion. An internal explosion, not international explosion. Mechanical failure. The Scorpion had a history of mechanical problems and had its overhaul shortened prior to its final deployment. This led to some speculation that a critical failure, such as flooding through a trash disposal unit, was the cause. Soviet attack. A less credible theory, especially among naval officials, is that the Scorpion was sunk by a Soviet submarine. This was heavily discussed during the Cold War, but not supported by official inquiry. Abby says the Thresher was assumed mechanical failure. The Scorpion was assumed explosion or implosion. Abby said, think the Thresher lost power in the middle of their test. Could you imagine being in the sea that deep and everything goes dark? Thresher was doing a test. Yeah, that has to be very terrifying. It's not easy to go through something like that at all. That has to be the most terrifying thing ever when that occurs. Yes, Anna from Timu. Terrifying last minutes of the U.S. This reminds me of the Twilight Zone episode, one of my favorite ones. When 20 years after World War II, they hear a sonar, they hear baying underwater, and from a submarine that sunk 20 years ago, and they're thinking like it couldn't be any live people under there. And there's dude that was on the submarine, that was on the ship, kept on seeing things and hearing things. He was getting paranoid, and they sent a scuba diver down there to find out what the baying was. It was, and the episode is quite my favorite Twilight Zone episode. It is quite eerie indeed. Abby said, "I lose my bowels and everything else if that happened." Oh yeah, oh yeah. That is definitely a normal reaction. The USS Thresher. The USS Thresher refers to the different U.S. Navy submarines, a World War II era diesel submarine SS-20, the -200, and a nuclear powered submarine SSN 593. The tragic, it sank in 1963. The nuclear power attack submarine USS Thresher SSN 593 is known for its disastrous loss in 1963, which spurred a major submarine safety reforms. Commissioned, the lead vessel of her class, Thresher, was commissioned on August 3, 1961. It was fastest and quietest submarine of its time, equipped with advanced weapons and sonar. Okay, another underwater tragedy that I'll never ever get out of my mind, and what I'm hesitant to dive is Byford Dolphin incident. Okay. Yeah, shout out to Dookie, Dookie chat. You never heard of that one? Okay. All right. The last final test on April 10, 63, Thresher began deep diving tests about 220 miles east of Cape Cod, Massachusetts, accompanied by the submarine rescue ship USS Skylark. Loss of contact during the dive. Skylark received garbled communications from the Thresher indicating that minor difficulties. They were attempting to blow a basket through a ballast tank. Communication then ceased entirely. Oh, Michael, have a good evening. Thank you for being here while you were with us. All right. Cause of sinking. A court inquiry determined that the likely cause was a catastrophic failure in a saltwater piping system. Flooding the engine room likely caused an electrical short, which resulted in an automatic reactor shutdown, a SCARM. The submarine then lost propulsion and sank below its crushed depth. Furthermore, moisture in compressed air system may have caused ice to form in the ballast tank valves, preventing the crew from blowing the ballast and returning to the surface. All right, so that's information on that one. That sounds very delicious, Michael. Oh, that's a good movie. Yeah, have fun, Michael. Definitely. Oh, this is a spooky incident indeed. All right. That's German abs. The rest are Italian. Yeah, scared. All right. So the Byford dolphin incident. Let's explain what that is right now. All right. Hello, Ty. Good to see you, buddy. Welcome to the chat. The Byford dolphin incident was a catastrophic decompression accident that occurred on November 5, 1983, on the Byford dolphin oil rig in the Northern Sea. A combination of human error and faulty equipment led to the sudden explosive de- decompression of diving chamber system, deleting killing four divers and one dive attender. I learned about this when I was learning about Apollo 1 tragedy. Oh, okay. In the Saturnian diving, divers work at great depths for extended periods of time and live in pressurized chambers on the rig to prevent decompression sickness, or the bends. The incident took place during the routine procedure involving four divers and two tenders. The setup. The divers, Edwin Arthur Coward and Roy P. Lucas, were resting in on high pressure living chamber at 9 atmosphere 9 atm of pressure. Two of the other divers, Bjorn Bergesine and Turles Helvik, were returning from a dive in pressurized diving bell. The procedure. The diving bell was docked to a passage or trunk which led to the living chambers. The standard procedure was for the divers to enter the chambers and seal the hatch, and then for tenders to depressurize the trunk and separate the bell. Hilarious, Anna. The fatal mistake. On this occasion, one of the tenders, William Cremond, released the clamp separating the diving bell and trunk before the inner hatch was closed and the trunk was properly depressurized. Depressurized. Consequences of explosive decompression. Now he said three of them boiled alive from inside and died instantly. So did the fourth, but he was sucked through a hole so violently that he was torn into pieces. Yeah, in the darkness, that has to be something unimaginably horrid. Todd said, "Alien, just asking, did you already discuss the Charlie Kirk these assassination charges that were read in court this afternoon?" I mentioned earlier about that incident, the what was read. I didn't get into a lot of detail about it, but I did mention it earlier in the stream. But not every single detail that you're speaking of. But yes, it is certainly something I take a keen interest in. Thank you, Todd, for the question. I watched it earlier today when it was live, and I thought it was, the guy was just sitting there like a statue. You know, it was completely the dude is completely strange. Indeed, the one that did the assassination. Rest in peace to Charlie. All right, so three divers in chambers: Coward, Lucas, and Bergerson, who were in the living chambers, died immediately from a phenomenon called boiling of the blood. The rapid pressure drop caused nitrogen in their bloodstream and tissues to form massive lethal bubbles. Autopsy report showed large amounts of fat separated from their blood, a result from the boiling effect. One diver in the trunk, Helivik, who was process of sealing the interhatch, was subjected to the highest pressure gradient of the explosive force launched by his body through the particularly blocked hatch opening, which was 60 centimeters, 64 inches across his body, and was dismembered. Internal organs were ejected, some found up to 100 meters, 30 feet away. As he said, I told him to take off the turtle suit if he actually was suicidal, and let's see if he'll die for his country too, in regards to the shooter. Yes, that is a very good idea. Yes. He certainly needs to try that out to see if it's really what he says he is. Right. Abby said, very out of character, but fuck it, freedom of speech, right? Hola. Yes. All the way. Freedom of speech. Facts. Investigation aftermath. Initial investigations blamed human error, specifically the tender William Craymond. However, a subsequent report secured decades later by the North Sea Diverse Alliance revealed that the diving system was obsolete and lacked crucial safety interlock mechanisms that would have prevented the clamp from being opened while the system was pressurized. The incident led to a sweeping reforms in commercial diving safety, including mandatory interlocks and improved procedures to prevent such a failure from happening again. In 2009, 26 years after the incident, the Norwegian government formally settled with the victims' families, acknowledging the role that fatally equipment played tragedy. How the equipment played in the tragedy. Okay, and seeing about this right here. Right, so this is the chambers, and yeah, the diving bell here, and this is where it was located. You have this rig incident. Right there. Scared. Yeah, that certainly to be lost under the waves like that is quite terrifying. Okay. Let's go here. Let's see. This is another crazy diving fatality, but this was completely avoidable. I don't know. Okay. Let's go see this one. Yes, some people are just really not the smartest. That is true. Yes. Delta Pitot. Okay. CCR scooter divers were sucked into a dam inlet. Scared. Two rebreather divers use scooters died on the night dive earlier this year after apparently venting too close to the Belgian hydroelectric dam. Christoph Rager, Frederick Pochet, both from Lee, disappeared in the Play Tiley Reservoir near the southern town of Forid Chapelle. No, Florida Chapriella. No, I got it right this time. Ford Chapella in Hainaut on 4 of January. Oh, they were sucked into the rotating fans. That reminds me of the Willy Wonka movie. But still, that is has to be a really terrible way to go. Yeah, that certainly would stick with me too, Abs, about the suspense of it, certainly. Yeah. And the son of one of the men concerned that he had been in touch and finding his vehicle still in the lake's car park raised the alarm. The Belgian Civil Protection dive team, using 10 professional divers and sonar equipment, began the search the next day. Godger 46 was a single and worked in baking and was described by the fellow dive club members as experienced diver. Pochette 59 was not affiliated with the same clubs, but also thought to have been experienced. The 350 hectare lake, a scuba diving and sailing attraction, is part of the EU d'Hyères complex of 5 reservoirs that make up the largest area in Belgium. As I said, for real, but they were in a restricted area. They wanted to go beyond basic diving parameters. Yeah, it's, you know, when people do stuff like that, it can cause a problem, like we see here. Ab says the dam wasn't on, but apparently turned on while they used their scooters. The scooters weren't even strong enough to pull that away from the motors. Yeah, that is quite a mystery. It's quite a mystery. It's like it wasn't supposed to be on, but it was on nonetheless. It was there. And you have that right here. Let's see. It includes the Play Tali Dam, built in 1970s and at 790 meters long, the biggest in the country, equipped with a pumped storage hydroelectric power station. The lake would be well dive while the dam turbines were working, but divers would tend to stay at depth of 220 meters, with the turbines clearly audible below. A night 2 of the 3 had been in operation. Abs said apparently it was randomized when it was switched on. Even worse, why would you risk it? Yeah, it taking risks is very important to do, but this type of risk is a foolish risk where it will only cause you more problems with everything else because if you lose your life, you can't really do anything else. So I do think that caution is very important to take. It maybe they didn't. This is what I think. They underestimated the danger that they were in. They didn't. If they knew it was going to be this dangerous, they probably wouldn't have done it. So I think they weren't realizing the consequences of the actions. The top of the entrance tunnel to the turbines lies 50 meters deep, extending down to the 70-meter Garter and Pochet, and have decided to dive the site using DPVs at around 5 p.m. While the while the one no while on site dive center was closed, the search team found the divers' equipment, including their rebreathers and DPVs, in fragmented state, but the men's remains were not found until the following day downstream of the dam. Benoit Michel, who runs the Lake Dive Center, stated that the man must have ventured far from two authorized diving areas too close to the intel entrance at the point they would have to been drawn by the powerful flow. An autopsy carried out the following day confirmed that they recovered the body parts were those of two divers. They would have been caught by the huge turbine present in the watercourse. Charleroi public prosecutor's office stated. Abby said, it was completely dark. Couldn't imagine the horror hearing it getting closer, but not seeing the shield and being dragged. Yeah, that has to be, the suspense is something that is very nerve wracking. When you have the suspense of being pulled closer and closer and there's nothing you can do about it, it what it does to the mind is quite horrific. This says haunting dam dives. Please take me with you. So this is a haunted dam right here. The body of a South Korean school teacher who went missing 15 years ago has been located by a scuba diver who claims to have been. Anna said, sounds like one of my blind dates. Abs. Scared. The body of South Korean school teacher who went missing 15 years ago had been located by the scuba diver who claims to have been guided by a voice in his head. And it was completely dark. Couldn't imagine the humor, the horror rather, of hearing it getting closer, but not seeing Sheila and being dragged. Scared. Bayek mean Gayu. Oh, it's zero. One engine is wronging, the other is humming. So I'll go find out why Wong isn't humming. Okay, thank you for checking that out. I thought that I heard a jolt, I thought I felt something on the spaceship, so I'm glad that you're gonna go check that out. And good to see you, Zero. Welcome. All right. It had been involved in the original search for unnamed school vice principal when he went missing. Long rhymes with Shalong. Hey, there you go. Unnamed school vice principal when he was missing at the age of 53 in August 2010. Long Shalong from King Kong got interested in looking at dongs. Hit the bong wrong. Then we all started laughing and singing a song. Tong. Yeah, shout out to Zero. Cool people. And earlier month, Bayek had been carrying out maintenance work on the Endong Dam, and he accidentally dropped a ladder onto the water, according to report. Yeah, bust those rhymes. I'll do it anytime. Harold Hong got kicked in a ding dong and then got hives. And he got hops. Then he got home and poured on the rocks. And okay, chat. So he said, I think abs attention more, and we certainly shout out the chat. Everybody, get along and act accordingly to the spaceship's measure, and everybody to take the humor not too seriously, and we are definitely loving abs tonight. Yes, and I appreciate her company and attention that I am glad to give her. She is the star of the show in the spaceship tonight, and shout out to Zero for helping the engines run smoothly, and Anna also being a good companion in the chat as well, helping us laugh too. We all get along, and are going to continue the rhymes and the laughter of this very eerie subject of the haunted dam. All right. Using the scuba gear, the ad is gone. I'm scared. Earlier this month, Bake had been carrying out maintenance work to the Andong Dam when he accidentally dropped a ladder into the water, according to a report in the Korea Herald. Using scuba gear, he had dived to a depth of 30 meters to find the ladder, but while carrying to the surface had dropped it again in the same spot it was when he dived once more. Then he also came across the teacher's remains. We get along better here than humans on Earth. That is true, Zero. That is true. We definitely get along better here than those Earthlings do, because right now they're all over social media. They're all warring with each other and doing wild things. So us aliens in the spaceship get along better, indeed. Yes. And I appreciate y'all's resilience. And the one that wants the most attention here is myself on the live stream, obviously, because I put a camera on myself and started ranting online. So shout out to Timu, myself, the Timu alien. And using the scuba gear, he had dived to a path of 30 meters to find a ladder, but while carrying it to the surface, he had dropped it again in the same spot. It was when he dived once more that he also came across the teacher's remains. I kept hearing, please take me with you, he told local media. I don't even know why I went back so deep. The water for the cheap ladder, I just felt I had to. The Gyeongbuk Provocational Police Agency said that being I'm a good companion like a Choli. Shout out to you, Anna. Always hilarious. You always cause Abby and I to laugh and chat to laugh. Hilarious. All right. Said that being largely encased in mud had helped preserve the body, much of which remains intact. Identification had been confirmed by DNA testing. Now, I will say with this situation, it was very intriguing that he felt that something was telling him to go back and get the ladder. So I think that was quite intriguing that it seems like there was like a communication, a ghostly communication to retrieve the body. Or maybe it was something from God. Or something of that effect. Abby said, or a Sholong, they don't talk, they just salute to compliment you. Yeah, there you go. Facts. The case had been one of the region's longest running missing person causes, and police plan to honor Bayek with the certificate of appreciation of finally helping them to solve it. Oh, hello, Doe. Good to see you. And Anna said, I'm just playing with Zero, not being snarky, promise. Understood, Anna. Thank you. And I appreciate your snarky humor and you being with us in chat. It's very important to me. So, but thank you for clarifying what was going on. The death in Indonesia. I know, right, Alien? Yeah. Yeah. Meanwhile, in Aceh, the Indonesian island of Sumatra, a 33-year-old scuba diver visiting from Malaysia was died yesterday, 31 May, after being caught in what was described as a strong current. The man had been some 20 minutes into the morning dive to a 30-meter maximum depth at a site of Ao Boai. Was a group toward the Malaysians and an instructor, according to media outlet Betra Rakyat Aka. Yodo, I don't worry about it, or I'd have typed more about it, Anna. Yo, and I would have typed more about it. Scared. Alright, Abby said, wait, Amoko Cadiz looks like a whale sinking. It does? We have to go check that out. Alright. Meanwhile, in the Sumatra, a 33-year-old scuba diver visiting the Malaysia was deleted after being caught in what was described as a strong current. Hello, one juror matters, my bro, from a long time. Good to see you. Yes, Zero, I got your email today. I don't think I reacted to it yet, but yeah, I got it. Thank you, buddy. And Cash Patel. Yeah. Doing my best and stopping by, leaving my DNA on your like button. Oh, thank you, buddy. Thank you. I'm glad you did. Yes. Yes, those 3 words. Yes. That's true. I saw it. It was like a banner with 3 words. Yeah. And Anna said, Curse, people take me the wrong way a lot, so I'm trying to stay out of trouble. Yeah, and online, a lot of times, especially when texting, people can misinterpret things and take things like but by mistake out of context. So, we were all friends for a while, and naturally people might get in quarrels and disagreements, but yeah, it's Anna here and the others are not trying to cause anybody a problem. It's things to be taken out of context. It's all done out of good fun and good intentions. And I like Anna's take on things, and along with all of you as well, the different people here. So yeah, just with the there's you can't always tell the emotion sometimes through texting. Yeah, but I'm out of all the places y'all could be, I'm glad that y'all are here with me. And meanwhile, Aka on the Indonesian island in Sumatra, 33-year-old scuba diver visiting Malaysia was deleted yesterday, May 31, after being caught in what was described as a strong current. The man had been some 20 minutes into the morning dive to a 30-meter maximum depth at a site of Iboi Aya. He was in a group with two other Malaysians and an instructor, according to the media outlet in Baratia Rakyat Aceh. On encountering the current, the instructor had signaled to the man to ascend, but he might have compiled too rapidly because by the time he reached the surface, he was found to have lost consciousness. The instructor and fellow divers took turns. All right, here I am. I should be here at this moment. Okay. Sucked into the inlet once was crossed and she would let go. Nah. It's a wife, man. She was taking your soul through the shoaling. Yeah, scared. Alright. So let's go back here. Let's look at some more shipwrecks. Well, I'm glad to be here, yes. Alright, I got something else to show that has to do with this. Okay, there is an incident where these people got sucked underwater. Water drain. Pipe. 3 workers stuck. Alright, here I am. Let's put this back out right here. Yeah, alien, who's sucking the life out of your connection? And that has to be a hoe from the Flabby Fish Market that's doing that. Now let's see if this works this time. Okay, switching over to the other window. Scared. Paria diving disaster. Pyrea diving disaster. Okay, let's see. All right, there's this diving incident that happened in the Caribbean. Suck, autocorrect, really, you're trying to ruin my day again. Yeah, autocorrect is being completely from Timu. Yeah, it can be from Timu sometimes. My fault puts the engine back together as it now hums instead of wrongs. Okay. So there is this incident where you had these divers that got stuck in this pipe when they were working and they were underwater and there was like 3 of them and some of them are trying to make it out, some of them gave up and they're trying to go back to get the other people that were stuck there but they didn't let them do it and there was like lawsuits over it. And to give you a summary about it, let's go here. On February 25, 22, four divers working for the Parai Fuel Trading Company in Trinidad were deleted killed after being sucked into an undersea pipeline. A fifth diver, Christopher Boudrein, was the sole survivor. An official inquiry later concluded that the company's gross negligence causing the deaths and blocked the rescue attempts that could have saved the men. Remember Barry? Yeah. Scared. Remember Barry is a South Park reference. Oh, okay. Okay. All right. So, routine maintenance. The five commercial divers employed by the contractor Lane and a marine contracting service LMCS were conducting underwater maintenance on an oil pipeline in Berth 6 in the Ponte Paris port. Their task was to remove an inflatable plug from the riser pipeline. Rest in peace to all those unfortunate victims. Can you believe how many have actually lost their lives in bodies of water? It's crazy to think and sad. I'm so high, I'm not smart. I'm stoned, who says I'm sane? Well, I think people like that are the most intelligent because they have a habit of thinking differently. Right. And Abby says, I mean, every victim is a different person, different life, different soul. Yes, absolutely, abs. And you have that incident where different life, different soul is coming at sea. It's certainly ambient, and they were never going to see land again. It was a very a peculiar way to go, and with the discrepancy of what brought them there in the first place. Are you a victim or a victor of your victimhood? We overloaded him again. And you see, that means that back in the other rooms, in the computer room, there must be something overflowed that needs to be cleared out. Computers might be jammed up again. That's what it is. Alright, so I'm a victor, personally. Because you can't always control what happens if a victimhood is there, but you can triumph over it or not. It's up to the person. The fatal suction. The unbeknownst is a diver's a differential pressure event, or a delta P, was created when the pipe was cleared of oil weeks earlier, creating a vacuum when the plug was loosened. A powerful vortex sucked the five men of the 30-inch diameter pipeline. And Zero, it's not even my computer. It was the room in the spaceship room, in the control center, where they go and monitor, regulate different information that comes in and out the spaceship. It's not a job for either of us. It's a job for the diamond head aliens that are in that room. They must not be really doing their job at the moment. And they'll certainly be seeing what is exactly... I will go see what's going on in there, because I want to make sure everything's straightened out, because they're known for funny business. Alright, the fatal suction. Beknownst to the divers, different pressure events, or delta P, was created with the pipe was cleared of oil weeks earlier, creating a vacuum with the plug was loosened. A powerful vortex sucked the 5 men into the 30-inch diameter pipeline. Factual fatal suction. Yes. Yes. And okay, the if I said it wrong, I may have seen the word incorrectly. The I'm not too sure. I don't remember. The fatal suction, unbeknownst to divers, a differential pressure event, or delta P, was created when the pipe was cleared of oil weeks earlier, creating a vacuum. When the plug was loosened, a powerful vortex sucked 5 men into the 30-inch diameter pipeline. I bet I could suck a dude to death too. Yes, I believe that too as well. What kind where you suck golf ball through a hose? Doable. Yeah, it's not impossible for abs. Absolutely. A lone survivor emerges after being tapped inside the dark, oil-filled pipe for hours. Christopher Boudrim managed to crawl back out to the surface, and he survived the ordeal with the other 4 divers, Kazim Ali Jr. Hass and Yosef Henry and Rashi Naskar. Yeah, and Zero says, can you blow a man back to life? Also, abs. Scared. I believe she can. I believe she can. Hell yeah, it's just more sucking. A lone survivor emerges. After being trapped inside the dark oil-filled pipe for hours, Christopher Boudrim managed to crawl back out. The rescue blocked. Despite volunteers and rescuers, including the son of one of the trapped men, preparing to go in, Paria fuel officials blocked all rescue attempts. The company cited safety concerns, despite the divers baying on the pipes and external camera confirming they were alive for some time. Alright, Zero said, okay, I'm done with this. Lady's all about the sucking and blowing. She's your problem now. Understood, Zero. I have it all taken care of. Thank you. So, another tragic thing about this case is how they had a problem with the rescue mission that they were not going to do. In this situation with the pipe, they want to try to get the people rescued and take them out. And yeah, Zero, I have it all taken care of. Thank you. So this caused lawsuits. This caused questions about why they didn't do it. They didn't want more people to get stuck in there, but they had a rescue plan in mind to try to get them out of it. And there's a long going debate about this was right or not. And Ab says, nah, I'd stop when the dude says to stop, because otherwise you don't technically, it could be considered essay. But I am known for writing in cursive with my tongue by some dudes, so I can say whatever. Yeah, there you go, Abs. Yeah, you do what you feel is best. I don't. You could say whatever you'd like. It doesn't bother me. And also, I certainly think in cursive is something that I always found fascinating. But a lot of my teachers did not like the way I wrote in cursive. They wanted to write in print. And Ab said, you didn't need to know that, Sheila, but I talked about self-deletion suicide earlier, so nothing's off the table. Yeah, nothing's off the table. All options are being considered. Yes. Justification and admissions. Paria's lawyers initially claimed that the company had no legal responsibility to rescue the contractor's divers. The company's management stated blocked rescue attempts to avoid to risking more lives. Yeah, they did stop teaching it, and when I was in third and fourth grade, around '07, '08, there were some teachers that were having us write in cursive, and then later on, there are people who didn't quite understand it, and there were people that were not understanding it, and there were people that did understand it. What the F kind of company is that? I know it's a Timu Sheen company. They didn't want anybody to go down there. And Zero said there's those that kind of men that love are told to eat it, and those that love to eat it. I choose the latter, nods firmly. Zero gets brownie points for being a man. Yes, yeah, shout out to Zero. Yes, indeed. All right. Tragic discovery. The four victims' bodies were eventually recovered days later. A GoPro camera from one diver captured audio of the men praying and comforting each other while tapped inside the pipeline. Official findings. A commission of inquiry was launched in Trinidad and Tobago government. In November 23, it used a report that characterized Paria's actions as gross negligence and consequently criminal for both causing the deaths and preventing rescue. Or the equivalent. How about extra vagrant being, since I don't know your identity? Scared. Damn, that's some sad shit. Charge files. On September 24, the corporate manslaughter charges were filed against Paria's managers and contracting company LMCS following COE's recommendations. All right. So that is what happened in that case. Right, Zero says, "Hey lady, I got to make up for those turds pop out of the morning being larger than what's between my legs. Honestly, I don't have a baby arm, a third leg. Okay, enough about me." And certainly, we will have. Amber is the one that likes to drop all the turds. Only one that I know of that does that. And that is true. And we certainly. Oh, Abby says, "Did you look up the whale ship yet? We can also look at a few oil rigs that collapse into the water." Zero. Oh, she scared. Yeah. So, yeah, Abby, we did not look at those yet. The whale ship. We did not look at that yet. Look up the oil ship yet. We can also look at a few. Let's look at the whale ship. Is this from... This is Moby Dick, huh? That might be that. Let's see. Whale ship. Ghost ship. Let's see. Let's see right here. Go here. Yeah, so if you are referring to the Deepwater Horizon, I'll give oil rig names. We'll give known as the Deepwater Horizon. Okay. Oh, okay. Thank you, Abby. Okay. This is interesting right here. All right, so this is a very ghostly scene of the ship sinking through, almost sinking, but not quite sinking through the waves, as it's very ghostly and eerie appearance. And we can see only a piece of it right here being visible, as it just floats there ghostly. Look at how round a newborn's arm is, folds my arms. I'll make you look all kinds of body parts differently, like the biome of roast beef some women have. Scared. Alright. Looks like it from a distance, okay. Yeah, it looks like a whale. Yeah, it looks like a whale. Yeah, definitely. And let's see what happened to this ship. Run, blue waffle attack, burst into laughter. Okay, thank you, Abs. I'll look that up. The Amako is a super tanker that ran aground off the coast of Brittany, France on March 16, 1978, resulting in one of the largest, most destructive oil spills in history. Cause: the ship experienced a complete and irreversible failure of its steering mechanisms due to a severe storm in the English Channel. Rough seas and failed tow lines attempted ultimately pushed the vessel into the Port Sol rocks. Cargo: the tanker was carrying its entire cargo for approximately 220,000 tons, about 1.6 million barrels of light crude oil. Breakup and sinking: the violent storm prevented any salvageable efforts to pump oil out of the vessel. The constant battering from the waves caused the ship to break in two, and following the days, eventually split into three pieces. The entire cargo ship spilled into the sea. All right. All right, let's look at these right here. And saving these right here. Oil rig. All right, so that is the oil rig, the Ocean Ranger listing, and that it's lost right there. And it is listing right there that way, and the wreckage. Okay. And let's see exactly what happened to this one. Okay, to the oil. Ocean Ranger, right? Let's see. Okay. Let's go do this. Let's see. The Ocean Ranger was a semi-submersible mobile offshore drilling unit that sank during a severe storm off the coast of Newfoundland, Canada on February 15, 1982. Deleting killing all 84 crew members of the incident remains one of the deadliest offshore disasters in history. Background: at the time of the sinking, the Ocean Ranger was the largest rig of its kind. Anna said, stepped away. What's going on? Too much Johnson talk. Scared. Yeah, there was some pillow talk going on. It was at a moment there was, but right now we're talking about the oil rigs. But there is some for a moment, and now we're back to the oil rig stuff. Now, oil rig collapse and disastrous. Yes, yes, and it was considered unsinkable. It was drilling an exploratory well mobile off the Herbania oil field in Grand Banks. So it was drilling oil on the Grand Banks. The storm. In the early morning hours of February 15, 1982, a fierce winter storm struck the area with hurricane force winds and waves as high as 65 feet. The rig had already stopped drilling operations due to the worsening weather. Yeah, yes, Abby, facts. Yes. The fatal sequence of events. The sinking was caused by devastating series of failures triggered by a broken porthole window in the ballast control room. Seawater entered and caused an electrical short circuit that led to a loss of control over the rig's ballast system. This created an uncontrollable list tilt, which worsened into the ultimately capsized and sank. And we have the fatal sequence of events. So, in this situation, they need to stop calling things unsinkable. Because when you have something that is unsinkable, a lot of times it will not work. It will be seen as sinkable and eventually go down. Fatal sequences of events. The sinking was caused by devastating series of failures triggered by a broken porthole window in the ballast control room. Seawater entered and caused an electrical short circuit that led to a loss of control over the rig's ballast system. This created an uncontrollable list tilt, which worsened until the rig ultimately capsized and sank. Helpless rescue attempts. Crew members abandoned the sinking rig and lifeboats, but the severe weather and inadequate environment and training hindered and rescue efforts on lifeboats was spotted with 36 men inside, but the rescue line snapped and the boat overturned, casting the men into the frigid North Atlantic. Rescue helicopters arrived too late, as most of the crew members had already succumbed to hypothermia. Abby said, anything can sink, even Dookie floater eventually. They say, what goes up must come down or go down. Yes! Yeah, that is true. Yes, definitely. Royal Commission. A joint U.S. and Canadian Royal Commission investigated disaster in 1984 report concluded that the tragedy was the result of a chain of events which resulted from human error, design inadequacies, and deficiencies within the management system coincided with the severe storm conditions. Contributing factors included design flaws. The design of the ballast control system, electrical wiring in the ballast room were found to be flawed. Inadequate training. The crew, including the ballast control operators, lacked sufficient training on emergency procedures, insufficient safety equipment. Workers lacked survival suits that could have protected them from freezing water, and lifeboats were not suited for stormy seas. Impact safety. The disaster led to major reforms offshore oil gas industry in Canada. The recommendations from the Commission resulted in improved rig design, standards mandatory, safety survival training, offshore workers, and stricter regulations overseen by a single regulatory body. Yeah, that is a very tragic disaster. Let's look up some more that Anna had mentioned. Right here. The Piper Alpha disaster was a catastrophic explosion and fire that destroyed an oil production platform in the North Sea on July 6, 1988, the leading killing 167 men. It remains the world's deadliest offshore oil rig accident. The disaster was ultimately caused by a series of failures, including poor maintenance and breakdown in communication between the shifts. That is a really terrible, horrid tragedy. Now imagine being on that, how terrible it would be. Definitely, this is very another horrid tragedy. All right. Location and operation. Piper Alpha was located about 120 miles northeast of the Aberdeen, Scotland, and was operated by Occidental Petroleum at its peak, and the platform accounted for about 10% of the United Kingdom's oil and gas production. Cause of explosion. The tragedy began with a critical miscommunication during a shift change. Day shift workers had removed pressure and safety valve from the condensate pump from the maintenance, but had not completed the job by the end of the shift. And the companies will just pay and move on. Yeah, that's another thing. They don't really get consequences for their action. They have so much money that they keep on doing these things and then getting away with it when human life is extremely valuable. That shouldn't be taken. They should have systems that are more safe. They left a temporary seal on a pipe marked the equipment for the repair, but failed to adequately communicate the pump's condition. An incoming night shift. Later, when another pump failed, the night shift operators restarted the second pump, unaware that a safety valve was missing. Fatal sequence of events. The restart of the pump caused a highly pressurized gas leak, which ignited and triggered the first explosion approximately at 10 p.m. As the fire spread, it ruptured the other gas and oil pipelines connected to the neighboring platforms, Tarleton and Claymore, which continued pumping fuel into fire. The resulting series of explosions and intense heat overwhelmed the platform, causing it to collapse onto the sea. Flawed emergency response. The disaster was compounded by inadequate emergency systems and procedures. Crucial fire pumps were in manual mode for maintenance and could be started automatically. Initial explosion destroyed the control room, crippling communications and rendering emergency systems useless. Many workers congregated in the accommodation module, believing it to be safe refuge, but the intense fire caused eventual fall into the sea. Only survivors were those that jumped into the frigid northern sea where rescue were nearby vessels. All right, and companies will just pay and move on. Yeah, investigation. A public inquiry led by Lord William Cullen was established to investigate the cause of the disaster. His report, published in 1990, made 106 recommendations for changes in the North Sea safety procedures. Key findings. The Cullen report concluded that the disaster resulted from the Occidental Petroleum's inadequate maintenance and safety procedures. The inquiry identified systematic failures and the permit to work system, poor shift handovers, and general flaw the safety culture. Lasting changes. The Piper Alpha disaster fundamentally reshaped the offshore oil and gas industry's approach to safety. The UK's Offshore Safety Action of '92 was direct results of recommendations. Abby said, but a lot of people don't know the potential outcomes until they're shown. Abby said some of the outcomes aren't even thought of, I'm sure, even by the smartest. Yeah, because, for instance, there's an oil rig that one of the subscribers worked on, and what happened was a horrible problem happened with the oil rig, and just sometimes you can't prepare. Sometimes accidents happen. So, Eve, there's things you can prepare for, but there's other things you're not even thinking that could happen. Abby said, there's just some stuff you can't fathom, but it happens, and it's crazy. Life is wild. Yes. Yes, absolutely. All right. And key findings. The Cullen report concluded that there's just some stuff you can't fathom, but it happens, and it's crazy. Life is wild. Yeah, and Anna said she'll second that. Yes, yes, indeed. Key findings. Cullen report concluded that the disaster resulted from Occidental Petroleum's inadequate maintenance and safety procedures. All right, so Piper Alpha. Sometimes you gotta make life pay. Yeah, yeah, that's true. Yeah, definitely. All right, so the Piper Alpha, and that is completely all on fire, and that is a very horrid, tragic sight. Imagine being stuck on that, and no way to get off of it. It has to be horrific. Yeah, crazy and sad. Yeah, definitely. And you got that right there. It's a black billowing smoke just coming out. Okay. Very, very tragic indeed. All right. The next one on the list is the Alexander L. Alexander L. Killand was a semi-submersible drilling rig. Indeed, but passes and then light and joy. Yes. Facts, Anna. All right. A semi-submersible drilling rig that capsized in Northern Sea on March 27, 1980, deleting killing 123 to 212 people on board. The rig was being used as a floating hotel, to house offshore workers and remains of the worst industrial disaster in Norwegian history. Hell no, look at that biatch on the side. Nope. Yeah, it's scared. Yeah, that is terrifying. Wow, it's on its side like that, like it's a hot dog bun. Wow. Background: the rig was operating in the Echo Fisk Helltel. That's true. That is what it is, a Helltel. The rig was operating in Ecofisk oil field about 235 miles east of Dundee, Scotland. It was connected by a walkway to the ETA 27C production platform. The collapse during the severe storm with high winds and waves, a loud crack was heard as one of the rig's 5 support columns D-leg broke away. Quaking in my boots. Yeah, yeah. I don't blame you, definitely. Scared. The collapse. During this a severe storm with high winds and waves, a loud crack was heard as one of the rig's 5 support columns, the D leg, broke away, capitalizing. The loss of D leg created a catastrophic loss of stability, causing the platform to list 30 degrees over the next 20 minutes. The remaining support cables snapped under the strain, and the rig completely capsized. The emergency response, the disaster was compounded by several factors that hampered evacuation efforts. Oh, they knew it was collapsing too. That makes it even worse. They heard it snap and lean. I'd rather die on the spot, not in that. Yeah, it's very suspenseful. Yeah, very suspenseful. It's scared. Many lifeboats could not be released from the launch hooks due to the extreme tilt of the rig. So, Abby, they could not have lifeboats either. And ineffective command structure and the poor communication meant that the critical time was lost. The fringe North Seawater claimed many lives as men were not equipped with the survival suits. Investigation aftermath cause. In 1981, investigative reports include the cause of the fatigue. Scared. Poopless. And there you go. Cause of 1981 investigative report concluded the cause was fatigue crack in one of the rig bracing. The crack originated from the faulty 6 mm fillet weld attached to a non-load-bearing flange plate for a sonar device to crucial support brace on the D-leg. The poor welding combined with the cyclical stresses from North Sea storms caused the initial crack to grow over time. Yeah, that is a epic lawsuit indeed. The fatigue crack led the eventual failure of the brace, which turn caused the other structural elements to fall into sequence, destabilizing the entire rig. The rig's design had no redundancy for search failure and was unable to withstand the loss of the single leg. All right. Okay, and let's see the next one. Viper Alpha. Well, it looks like we're just going to look at the pictures of it. How about that? And Anna is correct. It will get brightest, darling. Hang in there. Yes, amen. I definitely believe that too. The darkness comes before the dawn. And... oh, I was just staring at this picture right here. Wow. No shipwreck. Darkness comes before the dawn. And even like a gem is not polished without friction. That's also true too. Oh, thank you, Abby. Thank you, Anna, for your words of encouragement to Abby. I really appreciate that very much. Shout out to all of you here listening, lurking. I appreciate everybody being here. Abby said, I'm high, so I wonder if the people on the ship, when they heard a crack, they looked to the heaviest person in the room just for a second. Oh, Lord. Alright, so that's the rig that was leaning over. Completely on its side. Alright. Or the Jinji. Scared. I'm going to copy this and look this one up. Okay, the Bohai 2. The Bohai 2 was a jack-up oil rig that capitalized on the sank in the Gulf of Bohai, China, on November 25, 79, resulting in the deletion deaths of 72 of the 76 crew members on board. The rig was being towed during a severe storm, and its sinking was attributed to the procedure. Procedural failures, poor training, and design vulnerabilities. Yeah, I read that. It's jacked up. Scared. Oh, there's some pictures of it. Look at that one. That one's very eerie. It's like sitting there in the middle of the ocean. In the middle of the Gulf. An ambience. Location Operation the Bow Eye was operated by China National Offshore Oil Corporation CNOOC. It was involved in the offshore oil exploration. The accident occurred while the rig was being towed from one location to another. Yeah, Frio creepy AF, definitely. Yes, yes, Anna. Location operation. The Boei 2 was operated in China National Offshore Oil Corporation and CNOOC. It was involved in offshore oil exploration. The accident occurred while the rig was being towed from one location to another. The storm. A severe storm with high winds and waves struck while the rig was in transit. Equipment failure. The rough seas dislodged the ventilator pump on the rig's deck. The heavy equipment punctured a hole in the deck, allowing extensive flooding into the rig. Capsizing flooding caused the rig to lose stability and list dangerously. The relentless storm and water intake eventually caused the jacked up rig to capsize and sink. All right, the Brington West Pier. Capsizing. The flooding caused the rig to lose stability and list dangerously. The relentless storm and water intake eventually caused the jacked up rig to capsize and sink. Rescue failure. The crew and the company was a towboat. Was it able? Was unable to mount effective resource operation due to the harsh weather conditions, chaotic evacuation, and lack of proper emergency training. The flooding caused the rig to lose stability and list dangerously. The relentless storm and water intake eventually caused that to occur, and investigation findings procedural errors. The rig personnel did not properly secure the deck equipment for towering, violating safety regulations. Some more pictures of it. It was out in the middle of the ocean, the Gulf, really. Oh, this is gnarly looking. It looks like a skeleton right there. Scared. The West Pier in Bring Brig Highton, oh, England, is the skeletal remains of the once grand Victorian pier that has been iconic ruin since the closure in 1975. Designed by Eu- Eugenius Birch, it opened in 1866 and was the first pier to give in a grade one listing to England. Today, only it is striking iron framework remains a testament to dramatic decline. Yeah, for real, for real. It had two fires, but was abandoned before. Oh, okay. Here's some pictures of it. Scared. Construction and peak. The West Pier was built with the cast iron threaded columns screwed into the sea bed, making it durable for the marine environment. Over the first 50 years, it was extended to the elaborate elaborated with the bandstand and a large pier head pavilion. The finally a concrete hull. In 1916, it reached its peak popularity after World War One, attracting 2 million visitors between 1918 and 1919. Gradual decay, the pier's fortunes began to decline after World War Two, increasing maintenance costs and shift in seaside entertainment led to financial difficulties. A season of owners failed to stop its decay, and the pier was eventually closed to the public in 1975. Yeah, it's middle of the water, very spooky indeed, very very ambient. Imagine like what an eerie silence would be. It would just be unnerving. Storms. A major storm in late 2002 caused the collapse of walkway connecting the concert hall and Pluvian. More sections of the sea early 2003. Arson. May 2003, a fire believed to be arson gutted the Piers Pavilion. Just 2 months later, in May 2003, another suspicious fire destroyed most of what is left. Attempts at restoration. Throughout its long period of decay, several attempts were made to save and restore the pier, most notably by the West Pier Trust. A substantial national lottery grant was pledged in 1998. Oh, hello, Roxy. Welcome to the chat. We are looking at abandoned piers and abandoned oil rigs and ships and stuff. But it was withdrawn due to difficulties finding a commercial partner and position from the owners of the rival Palace Pier after '03. Fire's heritage declared beyond repair. Iconic landmark. The West Pier skeletal remains have become enduring landmark of Bridgington and popular subject for photography, especially in the sunset. Melancholy and hauntingly beautiful appearance has made it a very integral part of the city's identity. Wildlife haven. Though a ruined structure has found a few new purpose, the remaining metal framework has become a habitat for local wildlife, including cormorants and other wild bird species. West Pier Trust. The West Pier Trust still owns the remains and operates the small center of the seafront preserve. The pier's history is reasonable for the monitoring ruins and disappear beneath the waves completely. All right. There you go. Roxy said there's so many cool abandoned houses and places in LA. They have so much history to them and they are haunted. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, that's an eerie pier to see. Very eerie. Oh, yeah. Well, that's great, Roxy. You're in the right place. All right, so these are some images. Yeah, just imagine seeing that in the distance at night. Oh, well. Yeah, wow. Yeah. A ghostly pirate pier, definitely. And then you got that. Yeah, it's just very majestic, very eerie looking. Yes, yes. Okay, and Let's see, haunted houses in LA. Yeah, Santa Monica Pier. Okay. All right, let's see what that is right here. Santa Monica Pier. I know what that is right there. It, it's a festive place indeed. So we're going to have. Let's see about haunted piers that are in existence. All right, let's see some haunted piers. Okay, so there's Pier 39 Astra, Oregon. Astoria is the oldest part of the town and U.S. West Coast. This pier is built on the site of historical Hathorne Cannery, which is long and dark history. Visitors and staff have reported strange occurrences over the years. Let's see. Scared, ski-aired. Oh, hell no. Yeah, I mean, imagine it's like foggy and dark, and like something just like a ghostly apparition appears there. Victorian piers. England. Many England's old piers are considered haunted, built in the Victorian era. They have witnessed a great deal of history, and some people attribute the creepy happenings on the era's legendaries. Red Hook Pier, Brooklyn, New York. Some users on Reddit have shared anecdotal experiences and legends concerning paranormal activity as this pier, though documented hauntings are less common. That is the haunted pier in Brooklyn. Right, and this is the Victorian piers in England. That is certainly haunting, indeed. And that's just in the middle of the ocean. All right, let's see an abandoned pier. That is a pier that used to be there, but it's not quite there anymore. So yeah, just one thing that I've seen is these bridges, like there's something called the twin span, and it there's some of the bridge was broken and you couldn't go on it. So it's kind of eerie to think about a bridge breaking over water because they have this big lake and they have two bridges going over it, and everybody's freaked out a lot of times when they go over it. And let's see. There's this huge shout to Mary Toodles. For instance, this is a bridge that's like that's what the hurricane did to those bridges. It completely like made it all messed up. But then you got these. So imagine like going over all that water across the bridge, and there's always this paranoia about accidentally, going in the water because that's something that people don't want to happen. And yeah, so it's one of the largest bridges in the world, like the second largest bridge. And yeah, that is something that I think is also equally as eerie. Okay. Maurice Pierre's ghost ship, Wildwood, New Jersey. This is famous haunting walkthrough attraction based on the legend of the military experiment gone wrong and the vanished ships, the Ignis Fatuus, that later reappeared in Wildwood. The attraction features animatronics and live actors, special effects. The Fear of the Pier, Panama City Beach, Florida. All right, you got that. And let's see other ghost ships besides the Flying Dutchman. Flying. Beyond the legendary Flying Dutchman, numerous ghost ships stories haunt maritime folklore and history, and these tales range from ships found eerily abandoned at sea to phantom vessels said to appear decades after the sinking. Mary Caleste. The incident in 1872, the American brigantine Mary Celeste was discovered adrift in perfectly seaworthy condition between Azores and Portugal with a few cargo alcohol untouched. And also, chat, there is the Bermuda Triangle. There's been incidences of people disappearing off ships and them just floating around. They don't know what happened to them. And although a lot of things with the Bermuda Triangle seems debunked, but there's some incidences of things happening over there that think had caused people some problems. Abby says, I think I'm going to bed tonight. Love y'all. Thank you so much, Alien, for distracting me and keeping me entertained. Good night. Okay, Abs. See you tomorrow. Prayers and blessings be upon you. Thank you for being here. And it was great topics. Thank you for bringing them up. Take care. All right, the mystery. The ship's lifeboat missing along with its crew, the captain's family, navigational instruments, all personnel, personal belongings, and provisions were still on board, with a meal seemingly left unfinished, despite numerous theories involving insurance fraud, a tidal wave, or mutiny. The disappearance remains unsolved. This legendary 18th century ghost ship was reportedly discovered west of Greenland in 1775. Boarders found the entire crew of 28 below deck, frozen to death and perfectly preserved by the archaic cold. The Octavius, this is what this is. The discovery, the captain was supposedly found at his desk, frozen with a pen in hand. His final log entry, and also Anna says, Night Abs, check in tomorrow. Not, please, good night. So, yes, Anna, very sweet of you to tell Abby. Alright, so this is a pretty crazy situation. The captain was supposedly found at his desk, frozen with a pen in his hand. His final log That's tomorrow night. Yes. Okay. Understood. Night abs. Check in tomorrow night, please. Okay, I get it, Anna. Thank you. Yeah, autocorrect. It happens to me. All right, fact or fiction? No reliable records of the Octavius exist, but a similar stories suggest that the legend may have evolved from a real maritime incident. The SS Arong Medan. The incident in 1947, a distress call was picked up from Dutch frigateur SS Orang Medan off the coast of Indonesia. The message stated, "All officers, including the captain, are dead. I die. Horrors rescue ships. From the entire crew deceased, their bodies frozen with expressions of terror and their arms outstretched as if fending off an attacker. The rescue party was forced to evacuate due to smoke, and the ship exploded shortly after." The Enigma. Theories have ranged from commercial leakage of its deadly cargo to its paranormal activity, though Orang Medan itself may be fabricated story. It does not appear in official shipping registers. The SS Bay Chimo. The Arctic Drifter. In 1931, this cargo steamer became trapped in the ice off Alaska after the crew abandoned it. Bay Chimo broke free and was slighted differently. All right, I'm back. Okay, so the Arctic Drifter, I'll say it again. The Arctic Drifter, in 1931, his cargo steamer became trapped off the ice after the crew abandoned the Biochimo, and it broke free and was slightly drifting aimlessly over 30 years. Unending Voyage, dubbed the ghost ship of the Arctic. It was seen multiple times but never salvaged. The ship's last confirmed sighting was in '69, and its fate was unknown. The SS Valencia. The shipwrecked passenger steamship Valencia struck a reef off the Vancouver Island in 1906, caused a chaotic and tragic wreck that killed over 100 people. The Phantoms. The fishermen later reported seeing ghastly vessels resembling the Valencia along the sightings of lifeboats occupied, skeletons drifting nearby. The sightings cemented its place in the Pacific Northwest folklore. Folklore and regional myths. For instance, you had the Flying Dutchman, because there's a certain effect that happens, an illusion where you're looking out at the horizon and you'll see like this floating thing. It looks like a floating ship, but what it really is just like an optical illusion. But it makes it look like it's doing it, but not. Okay, Anna, good night to you. Thank you for coming. Take care. The Jealous Mate. On February 13, 1748, Captain Simon Reed was sailing with his new bride when a jealous first mate intentionally wrecked the ship on the notorious Goodwin sands of the English coast. The Anniversary Curse. According to the legend, the ghost ship appears off the Kent coast every 50 years on the anniversary of its sinking. It was last reportedly sighted in 1948. All right, the Chilean folklore. In mythology, the Chilo people of Chile Chalachi is a mythical ghost ship that appears and disappears at night, crewed by spirits of drowned sailors. A beautiful, mysterious vessel is described as beautiful and bright, accompanied by eerie music. It is said to have a magical ability to transform and to rise from the sea on foggy nights. Similar to like the Flying Dutchman coming out of the water in the pirate movies. The fire ship of Bay de Chaliros. Canadian legend. A long running maritime ghost light phenomenon is regularly reported in the Charles of New Brunswick, Canada. It is often described as a burning three mast ship, a tail battle. One theory ties the light to a battle during the American Revolution, where British ships cornered a French convoy at bay. All right, now let's do this analysis on this right here. Let's see. You're welcome, Lori. Understood. All right, and so this is kind of summarizing some tales of the sea that they had. All right, so see the Flying Dutchman. Dutchman folklore explained. The Legend of the Flying Dutchman is a maritime ghostly story about a cursed phantom ship doomed to sail the ocean forever. A nearby make port, its appearance to sailors is tremble omen, signaling bad luck, storms, or disaster. Origin of the legend. The folklore likely originated in the 17th century during the Dutch East India Company's golden age. Yes, Anna, that is true. There is a black screen because I had to do something with the. I had to bring the stream back on and for a second. So I could do to fix this is just put it right here. All right. The golden hope that rises of a tales of ghost. Okay, the folklore likely originated in the 17th century during the Dutch East India Company's golden age, a time of great Dutch maritime power. The perilous voyages around the Cape of Good and Hope. He rides the tale of ghost ships, internal damnation, and earliest record accounts date to the 18th century. The most common. Yes, understood. The most common version of the legend, a captain often named Hendrik van der Decken, is responsible for his crew's fate, defying nature, while rounding. Okay, Roxy, if you're going, good night to you. If you're going. In the most common version of the legend, a captain, often named Hendrik van Dricken, is responsible for his crew's fate, Define nature. While rounding the stormy Cape of Good Hope, Van der Decken insists on sailing through the tempest despite his crew's terrified pleas to turn back, making a blasphemous oath. In his arrogance, the captain allegedly swears an oath to God that he will round the Cape even if it takes until doomsday. Other variations say he sold his soul to the devil, sealing his destiny for his blasphemy. An angel or divine voice condemns Vanderdecken and his crew to sail the seas forever with no port or peace. Hallmarks of the Phantom Ship. Sightings of the Flying Dutchman are considered extremely bad luck. The ship is often described as a ghostly apparition. The ship frequently appears in supernatural form, sometimes glowing with ghostly light. Define the storm. It is sighted sailing at impossible speed against the fierce winds and storms, hailing other vessels on rare occasions. The ghost crew might attempt to hail a living ship and pass along the messages for people. Yeah, scared. Yeah, Lori, scared. Many reported sightings of the Flying Dutchman through history can be explained by weather phenomenon called a fata morgana. A fata morgana is a mirage caused by the refraction of light. Though layers of air of different temperatures, this can create an inverted or distorted images of a ship or just above the horizon, making it appear ghostly or as if it is flying. Richard Wagner, German composer, Der Fliegende Holländer, added the motif of a woman faithful breaking the curse. Pirates of the Caribbean. Disney film franchises managed the Flying Dutchman as a coral encrusted ghost ship captained by a monstrous Davy Jones. SpongeBob SquarePants: A Legend parodied the animated series featuring a cartoon ghost pirate named the Flying Dutchman. Alright. I'll tell you all again why the pirates drink rum. Pirate sailors drink rum for several reasons that were both practical and moral. The traditional heavy influence by the British Royal Navy grew out of necessity and days of long sea voyages. To make foul water drinkable, the fresh water stored in wooden barrels would quickly become stagnant, warm, and filled with algae, making it undrinkable. Adding alcohol like rum helped to preserve the water and delete kill bacteria, making the first time I saw those skeleton pirates in the moonlight on the big screen. Yeah, you were scared. Ski-aired. Skirt. Skirt. Yeah. Oh yeah, that was in Pirates 1. That was very good animation, and that was very like wow. That was something very intense. It was definitely chilling. With algae making it undrinkable, adding alcohol like rum helped preserve the water and to kill bacteria, making the water playable enough to preserve dehydration on the long trips. The drink known as grog was created in 1740 by British Vice Admiral Edward Venron. Yeah, facts story. It kept crew moral. Life at sea was difficult with dangerous conditions, hard work, and monstrous food. A daily rotation provided a welcoming break, way to improve a crew's morale. For pirate crews, generous supply of rum helped keep the sailors happy, prevent mutiny. Royal crew special occasions, battles, and victorious were marked by splicing the main brace, giving it an extra ration of spirits. While rum does not contain vitamin C, it was often served with lime juice, especially in the British Navy's grog. Though link between citrus and scurvy, you know that scratching sound, yes. Yeah, shout the bubbles. The between citrus and scurvy not medically understood. In addition, lime juice, a daily drink, provided crucial source of vitamin C in disease. And last two, a source of plunder. Currency, the golden age of piracy coincided with the boom in sugar and rum production in the Caribbean. This made rum plentiful and common commodity for ships to carry when pirates attacked other vessels. They often looted large quantities of rum. They stolen spirits and could be consumed by crew or used for trade. As a holdover from naval tradition, many pirates were former enlisted sailors who had grown accustomed to a daily rum ration in their Navy careers. For example, the Royal Navy issued a daily tot of rum in its sailors for centuries, a tradition that was only abolished in 1970 when these sailors turned to piracy. They brought their own taste of rum with them. All right. Okay. Now, tomorrow, additional to other things we'll be talking about a different types of food from around the world. We'll have a tomorrow Wednesday will be the day we will talk about different types of food. By the way, and I'm going to retitle this. And we have reached a stopping point in the stream. We finished what we did for the night, and I'm going to say haunted ships and rigs. All right, and save that. All right, so we've reached a stopping point. I want to thank you all for being here and hanging out with us, and thank you, Lori, for coming back and telling me hello. I'll see you over uh, in the Smoky Galaxy soon, and we will. All right, everybody, we had a good night. It was nice having. Or you're welcome, Lori. Peace. And it was nice having you here and Anna and Abby all chat and those lurking, watching, listening. Appreciate you all very much. And be ending it. So let's do this. And peace.